Hi guys, welcome back. Today I have a tag video for you. I was tagged by the lovely Celia to do the Dilemmas of a Book Nerd tag, and so I'm gonna do it because it's been more than a month. So the original tag was created by Lindsay's Little Library, and I will link both Celia and her original video down below. So this tag is supposed to cover all kinds of different practical things about our hobby as readers, from storage to tracking our reading. So I'm gonna jump straight into the questions. The first one is book storage. How do you store and organize your books? I currently have 2 shelves where I can put my books, and one is the one behind me, and I'm gonna insert some footage of it. So basically the 3 topmost shelves are unread books, and on the shelf below is some read books that I don't have any space for on my read shelf, and below is a shelf of read books, mostly from my husband, but also some of mine because I also have a read shelf that is overflowing. Yeah, the read shelf is in the living room, and it has all the books that I already read but that I specifically want to keep. So any books that are under 4 stars or 3.5, depending if I think I want to reread this book, will not stay, and I will give them away. On both my read and unread shelf, I don't have any specific organization of the books, so I typically just rearrange them depending on what I plan to read. On the very top shelf of my unread shelf, I put the books that I just spontaneously think they might fit for this particular season, or the ones that I set myself a goal to specifically read in a specific year, but it's more or less completely on a whim, and I can also just pick any of them at any point. Question number 2 is tracking. How do you keep track of what you have read and what books you own? So I track my reading on Goodreads, and that's also a way of interacting with you guys. But I do also have a physical reading journal, kind of. I've never shown it here because I also feel like I'm not the most artistic person, and I just do it in a way that pleases me, but it's nothing like fancy or anything. I just have this book where I typically paste the cover of the book, and then I write how many pages there were, when the book was originally published, the edition / publisher, the original language and in which language I read it, and the rating. And it's just, for me, a nice way to keep the non-digital record of it, and I just also enjoy making it, just sitting down and taking half an hour every week and doing it nicely. Concerning the books that I buy, I have an Excel sheet where I enter all the books that I buy, in which month it was, if it was bought from an independent bookshop or online, or if it's a used book, and the prices that it cost me. It just permits me to look how much I spend on books, and I also scroll through this list maybe every 3-4 months, and I look at the books that I have not read, which are highlighted in yellow in my sheet, which ones I haven't read yet and I owned for a very long time. So then I tend to put these on a specific reading goal to force myself to get to them at some point, and so I typically highlight them in red that I remind myself that I should read these soon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Question 3 is borrow. Do you lend your books out? I do, but to people I trust. I have lent out books in the past that have never come back to me, and some people I don't have contact with anymore. There were friends that, I don't know, we lost touch and things like this. I did this very often when I was younger, and you don't typically keep contact with so many people, and I really regret it. So nowadays I just lend it out to people I trust. I lend it out to my mom and my sister and my dad, and 2 specific friends that I trust, and that's pretty much it. Question 4 is buying. How do you buy or acquire books? I have talked a bit about this in the previous tag that I did, the Bougie Booktuber tag, where I talk about my buying habits and also talk about the price of books. So if you want to go and check it out, I will link it up here. basically I mostly try to buy books either secondhand online or from the independent bookstore in my city. And if there's some books that are really obscure or that I don't typically get through the normal channels, I get them on Book Depository. Question 5 is comments. How do you respond to the "how do you read so much" comment or similar comments? I don't, because I don't get this comment. Question 6 is next book. How do you pick your next read? So some people, especially on BookTube, are so creative in the way that they find new ways to pick their next read. I just love all these crazy ways to do TBRs. There's Kat at Cat Talks who does the bingo picks my TBR. Also Danny from Current Chapter does Eminem's picks my TBR. I just love watching these videos, but I am frankly just one, too lazy, and two, too much of a mood reader to do any of these fancy ways of picking up the next read. So I just do it in the most boring way possible, which is I go to my shelf and I think, what do I feel like reading? And that's basically how I choose my next read. Question 7 is travel. How do you pick what books you bring on vacation with you? I pick them the same way that I pick my next read. And the only thing that I will say is that I try to bring my Kindle and I try to download some classics on there. And I still end up taking physical books with me just because I like it better, the reading experience with a physical book. And I also usually bring too many because I like vacations where I get to explore a lot, and that's what we typically do. So I always end up reading way less than I think I can read in the time that I have. So yeah, the rule is just I pick whatever I want and I usually bring too much with me. Question 8 is annotate. Do you write or highlight or mark up your books in any way? I don't mark my books. I just can't do it. I don't know why, I just somehow don't dare. The thing I've been doing for maybe a year now is I have these little sticky strips. I just paste them in on the sentence, on the beginning of the sentence that I basically would highlight. So I have ways of finding back some sentences or some paragraphs that I wanted to highlight, and that's just how I do it. I don't really write in the book, I just paste stuff on it, and I buy some that I can get rid of really well and the book isn't damaged in any way, so in case I do want to get rid of the book or sell it, I still have the possibility and it's still in really good condition. Question 9 is new or backlist. Which do you prefer, new releases or backlist books? I really enjoy backlist books. I always go into new releases with a lot of skepticism because I don't typically trust books surrounded by hype. So you might have noticed that from the way I read, but I typically get to new releases very, very later, typically like 1 year after, just because I want to have this distance and be sure that my impression on it isn't tainted by anyone else's and the hype around it. So for example, I still haven't decided if I want to read The Testaments by Margaret Atwood, but if I do, it's gonna be quite some time before I actually pick it up, probably in a year or so if I end up wanting to get to it. So I generally like backlist books. I also enjoy them because I can make discoveries and find out a book that maybe is not talked of that much and that I really enjoy and that then I can really promote and really hype up again, let's say. So I enjoy this way more than just adding up to the hype train, because I also feel sometimes on here that, you know, if something's been talked of so many times, you know, what more do I bring to the conversation? So yeah, that's basically my approach. The last question is sequels. Do you read books as they are released or wait for an entire series to be published before reading one book? I don't know. I do both. The thing is, I don't read many series in general. I have still the series of unfortunate events that I'm reading, as well as the Aragon books, and these are finished series and they've been published for a long time. So there's that. I do, however, read comic book series, and at the moment there's 2 series that are not finished that I am actively reading, and that's the Monstrous series as well as the Black Hammer series. So these are the 2 open series that I am still actively reading, and they're not finished yet. So I'm doing both. Alright guys, these were the 10 questions from the Dilemmas of a Book Nerd tag. I hope you enjoyed hearing my answers, and I would love to continue chatting in the comments down below how you would answer these questions. If you've done the tag before, do tell me in the comments that I can go and check it out. And to finish up, I want to tag 3 people to do this, and it's gonna be Daniela from the channel Daniela in Prague, Eva from the channel Eva Strange, and Emma from the channel A Couple of Books. So if you guys, I think you guys haven't done it yet, I checked, but if you want to do it, do it. And anyone else watching this, if you feel like sharing your bookish habits, then you're very welcome to. And yeah, I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!